Hey guys, thanks for coming back to my channel. We're going to talk about my worst candles this year for spring of 2024. This was actually the video idea that inspired my last video, which was my best candles for spring of 2024. And I had so many just very mediocre to just plain bad candles that I burned this spring. And I was like, yeah, I think I should rank these or at least keep track of them and put a video out. There's so many. I actually had to narrow it down quite a bit. I had so many things that I burned this spring that I was just like, yeah, this is not changing my life at all. I'm kind of regretting buying these candles and burning candles for spring. Heck, at some point I was just like, yeah, I'm just gonna stay with Scentsy. And when you get to the point where you're like, yeah, I gotta stay with Scentsy because these candles are not throwing, you know you're in trouble. You know you haven't spent well. And, just a lot of these candles here that I have in this video where just, for one reason or another, I'm going to make it in this list. Of course, the obvious, they could just be terrible fragrances or things I didn't like. They could really have little to no throw. They could have burned like absolute crap, things like that. For any number of reasons, you could make it into this video. And I've even talked about some of these throughout my hauls and that kind of stuff, things that I didn't like on cold or even updates and videos. So some of this will come as no surprise. I know doing a video like this can rub people the wrong way sometimes. If it's a fragrance, a candle that you burned and you loved, just remember my purchasing habits are not like what they used to be. If I have a candle or a candle haul, most cases it's just going to be one of each candle, and if I have a bad first impressions, I'm not going to go back and buy the candle again just to see if I can get it to perform better in most cases. Now, I kind of learned my lesson last fall with that Palo Santo pumpkin candle that I purchased 2 in my haul. I was absolutely sure I was going to love that fragrance, and it ended up being a complete dud for me. So I'm not doing that again unless it's a candle I smell in store and it's amazing, like a Bath & Body Works candle. I'm not going to buy something multiple times in my first sitting, especially a fragrance that I have not smelled before and have not burned before. So just keep that in mind. I know some of these people have had different experiences with. If it's a favorite of yours, just remember it's just my experience with one candle, and that's it. I certainly would say I had better luck with some companies this spring than others. If I went down the list and ranked everything from each candle company as far as throw and burn and things like that, performance, let's just put it all in one nutshell. Wow, Homeworks would have really struggled this spring. So we're not gonna keep this intro too long. Let's just get right into this. We're going to talk about this one right here first from Bath & Body Works. Greenhouse Fern. Everything on the notes of this candle suggested I would love it or I should love it. Bergamot, violet leaves, jasmine blooms. It smelled like a really nice kind of lightly floral green fragrance, but when I started to burn it, it was extremely weak on throw. And more often than not, during the burn, it kind of came across as a little bit of a masculine cologne-y greenness. This one just did not work for me. Greenhouse Fern. I mean, everything about the notes would have suggested I loved it. Even on cold, it was kind of lighter on cold, but even on cold, it really did smell appealing to me. Then once I started burning it, no, there went all the appeal out the window. Greenhouse Fern, kicking things off with a bang. This is going to be a relatively negative video. Sorry about that. I usually like to talk about things that I love. Hey, I know there's some YouTubers that love to get on here and trash things purposely. That's just kind of the appeal to some of their videos and their style. I'm not like that. I would rather sit here for 10 to 20 minutes and talk about something I love and something that did well for me. So this is not a video you're gonna see too often from me. But having said that, that's the only candle from Bath & Body Works this spring that is in this video. We're gonna put a couple in here from my favorite candle company this spring, which was Goose Creek. This one right here, Lemon Butter Cake, I've talked about this one quite a bit. And honestly, it has nothing to do with this label, even though I've harped on this label quite a bit too. Lemon butter cake, I mean, this one should have been amazing. Really, it was really nice on cold. It was a very buttery lemon bakery fragrance, but it was one of the weaker Goose Creek candles that I burned this spring. As you can see, I made it about halfway. I ended up crocking this in my candle crock too, and it still didn't throw very well. So no, it really didn't have anything to do with the burn or how the wicks were performing. There just wasn't a lot of scent oils in this candle. For a candle that a lot of people loved this spring, and normally I probably would have loved a fragrance like this as well, a lemon bakery. Yeah, give me all of those. This one just did not do very well, and I couldn't even bring myself to continue burning it after that halfway point. I'm not sure what happened there, Goose Creek. That was a fan favorite from Goose Creek this year, though. I might go back to that next year. I won't repurchase it again this spring, though. I mean, I'm not about that life anymore, just to see if I'll have better luck with it. Marrakesh Mint. This was a fragrance I was really looking forward to because I love a really nice green, fresh mint. But sadly, Marrakesh Mint was not that at all. It was a little bit of a sweeter mint to me. It felt more like a Christmas peppermint, kind of that kind of mint. It didn't really smell like a tea fragrance either, and it's advertised on the Goose Creek website as being a minty tea fragrance, but it didn't smell like really fresh mint or tea to me at all. Kind of smelled more like a sweet kind of holiday style peppermint fragrance. Was not a huge winner for me, and I probably made that one a little bit past halfway. And I just said, yep, I'm not going to burn it. If I didn't like something this year, this spring, and I felt like, yeah, I'm not going to come around on that, I just stopped burning the candle. I did that numerous times this spring. I wanted to stay with things that I actually felt like I enjoyed for the most part this spring. This one right here as well, Apple Blossoms from Goose Creek. I've talked about this one too before. Like, I didn't even make it past the third burn. I would say that was probably 3 burns into this candle. I didn't want to burn it for long periods of time either. Was not my style at all. That Butterfly Garden candle though, if you want a really nice kind of floral apple from Goose Creek, get that one instead. Go for Butterfly Garden, not Apple Blossoms. Was not good at all. Too much of a masculine take on it. Too much of that woodsiness, cologne woodsiness in that candle. Let's see if I have any more from Goose Creek. No, that's it with Goose Creek. Let's talk about this one from Kringle, their fruity collection. They had several in this collection. This one is Royal Cherries. This was terrible. This is their 100% soy wax. You can see I didn't even crock this candle, and that's what happened to the wicks. So I didn't do anything to crock it, so there wouldn't be anything that I would have actually done to loosen those wicks up. This is a candle that actually threw really well, but it smelled like almost like a balmy, minty cherry chapstick when I was burning it. Not a real fresh and fruity, juicy cherry fragrance, not a real sweet cherry fragrance. Was really for me just a complete disaster. And because I did not purchase a lot from Kringle this spring, I don't have a lot of Kringle in this video. So you can kind of take that as a positive. I know my tastes, I know my styles. Kringle does not match my style and my taste very often. This one right here probably really shouldn't even be in this video, but Notting Hill Hyacinth, I did want to let people know this is the most natural smelling floral, specifically hyacinth fragrance that I have ever smelled. This is really getting to the real grassroots of the fragrance here. This is just extremely photorealistic floral, and that is a hyacinth, almost like a bitter greenness in this one. It is not a fresh green stemminess from this hyacinth. It's a very bitter kind of heady greenness in the hyacinth here. Would have loved to see the Lily of the Valley come out a little bit more in this. Maybe that would have added a little bit more soapiness, maybe a little bit more clean freshness to it. It's not technically for my tastes in this list, but I could see a lot of people, especially those that do not like florals or your more unagreeable florals, not liking this one whatsoever. And I liked that really natural, authentic hyacinth here, but I could see a lot of people not liking that. This one right here from that same collection, Chelsea Green Ivy. I don't know what went wrong here, Homeworks. It smelled really nice on cold. It was one that I mentioned does have the note of fig in it. I didn't really get that on cold. I'm gonna assume that came out though while it was burning, even though it wasn't really a fig that I was ever used to smelling before. It did smell kind of masculine. Didn't really have much of a greenness to it. Kind of came off as almost smoky to a degree. Now this could be just a bad batch here that I received. It could just be a one-off. It could just be a dud. I haven't really seen a lot of people talking about this one, so I wouldn't really know, especially here on YouTube. And I'm not in the Homeworks Facebook group, so I really don't know what people's thoughts are on this one. But when I was burning it, no, it didn't give me anything that I would expect to receive from those notes. Really just kind of smelled like smokiness when I was burning it. It was a huge disaster. Chelsea Green Ivy. And another one from Homeworks, this one right here, Cucumber Mint, was a terrible throw. Was just overall very, very lackluster. Just a very boring fragrance. Remember that Sweet Spring Melon candle that they came out with a few years ago? I know it has been back since its original release, Sweet Spring Melon, but I don't know when the last time it was that it was released. This one right here, I guess, was a replacement for that. Don't know. No. Go back to the drawing board or go back to Sweet Spring Melon. This was boring personified. I did not like that whatsoever. Of course, like I mentioned, wasn't a huge thrower by any means. Was not even a huge thrower in my bedroom. This one right here, I know a lot of people love this one, Blueberry Cheesecake. I stand by my thoughts on this one. I have not burned any real fall candles since last fall, since I want to say early December of last year. This for me reminded me of a fall candle. Okay, as much as any candle that I burned this spring, when I burned this wanted to take me to fall. Time and time again, it was not a huge throw. It's not a candle that a lot of people have really said bad things about. So I guess I could just say this was a dud for me. I don't know. I mean, the blueberry cheesecake in this, there wasn't a real strong blueberry note in this, first of all, and there wasn't a real strong creaminess like you would normally get from a cheesecake fragrance. Really what I was getting was that brown sugar, and it wasn't a strong brown sugar, but what I could smell of it at the time that I could smell it on, several burns of this candle, I ended up finishing it, as you can see. It's just that brown sugar was not doing it for me. Of course, I was not interested in smelling anything remotely fall right now, especially candles that I'm burning right now, spring candles. So this was one that was just not a real winner for me. I'll probably never go back to it again. And if I do, it is one I'll probably purchase and burn during the fall months, or at least during my fall burning season, which is going to start up here pretty soon within the next few weeks whenever fall candles start to come out. But Blueberry Cheesecake, such a huge disappointment from a candle that most everyone raves about. Hey, I'm just going to cross it off as a dud. That occasionally happens. And speaking of duds, the last candle I have in this video is this one right here from Homeworks. It is Lemon Poppy Muffin. This, above all other candles this spring, was my absolute worst candle this spring from any candle company, which is funny because it kind of bookends spring for me, with Coral Poppy from Homeworks being my favorite candle for spring this year. We're going back to Homeworks again with my worst candle this year. And the main reason why, and you can see I didn't even bother finishing it. It's over halfway burned though. The main reason why this candle is number one, my worst candle this spring, is because I've burned this candle before, this fragrance, and I know how well it can do. This was absolutely scentless. It was, I'm gonna say that at its peak, maybe a 3. Maybe. That's being nice, guys. That's being generous. Had this in my bedroom, the majority of the burn, didn't really even know that I had it burning at times, and it had nothing at all to do with these wicks. The wicks did fine. It did sit a little bit. The wicks were very strong. The flames were very strong. This was a candle that I burned for the first time, I want to say in 2020, spring of 2020, but it was actually a fall release in 2019, I want to say. I could be getting my years mixed up, but it was a fall release, and then I burned it for the first time the following spring. It was amazing back then. Every single one of the notes, the bakery I got from it, the lemon I got from it, that kind of tart, almost zingy ginger note I got from it. But now, nothing. Absolutely nothing. If you want to know how far Homeworks has fallen, burn a candle that has come out more than once, preferably a candle that has come out several years ago, and then if it's come out recently, burn it again. And you can really tell the difference with the strength and throw on the candles. There you guys go. I know I've harped quite a bit on Homeworks this spring. Just imagine if I were burning Yankee candles. Like, could you imagine that? How much I would have to say. But I don't spend money on Yankee Candle, and I did spend a lot of money on Homeworks. So there you guys have it. Let me know what your worst candles were this spring. If I had something in this list that you loved, let me know that too, because I'd love to hear your opinions and your thoughts on this. I appreciate you guys watching. I'm going to go check out these tornadoes that we've got coming in. I'll talk to you soon, guys. See ya.